Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and Restless official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Young and the Restless spoilers and recaps for Monday, May 26th, imply some interesting moments, as the show opened with Amanda Sinclair talking to her mysterious boss, Aristotle Dumas. Of course, Phyllis Summers was lingering around the corner of Crimson, where Amanda was having a coffee and talking to Dumas. Amanda insisted that she couldn't understand why they don't believe you're trying to protect the company. She also added that they still want to meet with you, and she assured him that she knew that would never happen. It's safe to say that they Amanda was referring to as Lily Winters, Devon Hamilton Winters, and Nate Hastings. With that said, after she got off the phone, Phyllis exposed herself, and Amanda was quite disappointed that her friend would stoop so low and eavesdrop. Phyllis tried to once again pitch a meeting with Dumas, and Amanda said this could never be an option. Phyllis even pitched an idea where Amanda could simply drop a text to when and where she was meeting Dumas, and Phyllis would stroll by, but the lawyer once again declined this idea. Amanda questioned why Phyllis wanted to meet with Dumas so badly when tons of investors would be willing to throw their money at her new venture. After much prodding, Phyllis finally admitted that she wanted to meet with Dumas to see if he was really planning a hostile takeover of Chancellor. If that's the case, she was hoping to convince him to let her lead the company. Across town, Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott were out for a job, which is exactly what Billy needed. Sally questioned if he needed a nice distraction from Phyllis, and Billy assured Sally that his ex wasn't living rent-free in his mind. He's happy he's running Abbott Communications with Sally and is very confident in her abilities and the company's future success. Still, Sally was concerned about Phyllis's recent threat. After all, this isn't the first time she's had to go toe-to-toe with her fellow GC redhead. Sally knows how vicious Phyllis can get, and Billy tried to fluff this off. Sally went on to say she plans to focus on the good that is going on in her life, but she's ready to battle Phyllis, too, if it comes to that. Over at the GCAC, Claire Newman catches up with Kyle Abbott. Claire is starved and ready to eat, but this will have to wait as Kyle promised Audra Charles that he'd meet her for a drink and listen to a proposal of hers. Claire's disappointed and tries to challenge him on this, but Kyle's really curious about what Audra is up to. Claire asks to come too, but Kyle shoots that idea down. It'll be a quick drink, he promises. Meanwhile, Audra is in the jazz lounge, waiting for Kyle to arrive, when Holden Novak approaches her table. She outright asks him to leave, but he doesn't listen and takes a seat. Holden guesses that she's meeting Kyle, and his guess is right. He questions why they are meeting and notes that he's just watching her back, like he did in LA. Kyle comes downstairs and sees the two together and grins. Kyle proceeds to interrupt them, joins Audra, while Holden goes upstairs. Kyle tells the brunette that Holden is an open book and not really hiding his feelings about her. He then tells Audra he's surprised about her text. Didn't they just call it truce this morning? Audra insists that why waste time supporting each other, right? This is when Audra presents her proposal, a publicity war between her company and Jabot. They can play up their rivalry on social media, they can even play up their past working relationship at Glissade. There can be leaked memos, and the media would eat it up. It would promote both her company and increase Jabot's sales. Kyle likes the idea but is a bit skeptical. It seems to benefit her newbie cosmetics company versus the well-established Jabot. Audra relays that it would still benefit Jabot and its bottom line. This is when she points out that in the movie, Miracle on 34th Street, Macy's didn't have the customers they wanted, Kris Kringle sent them to their competitors' stores. She also pointed out that Jabot's sunscreen increased its sales when Kyle showed off his goods on social media during a wardrobe malfunction that went viral. She points out publicity stunts work all the time. The two are flirting back and forth throughout their entire conversation, and this is when Kyle smirks and says he'll think about her plan. Meanwhile, Holden is upstairs with Claire, and he seems to be working her last nerve instead of charming her like he has done in the past. Holden starts off by questioning why Kyle would rather have a drink with Audra than his beautiful girlfriend. He then asked Claire if she knew whether or not the two had more than professional ties in the past. Claire questions why Holden cares so much, and he notes that he's just curious you saw them together, and it seems as if there's more to their story. Claire is agitated and wants to change the subject, so the conversation turns to her grandpa, Victor Newman. Claire almost gets a little defensive as she notes her grandfather is a great, kind, and generous man. Holden states he can see they are very close, which could get sticky considering his biggest rival is Jack Abbott. Holden goes on to say it must be hard for Claire to maintain a relationship with Kyle, considering this feud. Kyle returns from his drink with Audra, and he asks Claire if she's okay, as she tries to fluff things off, but it's clear Holden got to her. Claire asks what Audra's proposal was and Kyle tells her it's a publicity stunt war. Claire acknowledges that it sounds like a good idea, however, Kyle states that the only problem he has with it is that this would be mutually beneficial for both companies and he doesn't want to see her succeed and she certainly doesn't want to see him succeed, so what's the catch? Back at Crimson, Phyllis is trying to convince Amanda to run Chancellor with her. She just knows that if she has a couple of moments with Dumas, she can convince him of this. Amanda makes it crystal clear that she is quite happy with where she is right now. This is when Phyllis states she has to make this work, just as Sally and Billy walk by. Billy asks her what she needs to make work, exactly. This is when Phyllis goes on a rant. She starts declaring how big her comeback is going to be, which is when Sally retorts that it sounds like Billy letting her go was the best thing that ever happened to her. This agitates Phyllis, and the two women start going at it verbally, insulting each other and bringing up each other's pasts. Phyllis eventually storms out because the room has gotten too crowded for her. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Phyllis is dead set on meeting with Aristotle Dumas to pitch her leadership skills for Chancellor to get back at Billy. Once she gets something in her head, it's nearly impossible to get it out, so will Phyllis get her wish, or will she fall flat on her face trying? At the ranch, Victor asks Michael if he told the Abbotts he planted spies at Jabot. Michael snaps that he would never betray him that way. He stood by him even when he thought he was wrong, but he can't stand by for this. Victor asks why, because Jack's such a goody two-shoes? Michael exclaims, yes. He tells him he can't win this war. Victor gawps, oh, really? He thinks Diane and Jack put him up to this and warns Michael he's making a huge mistake. Michael says it's his to make. He reminds Victor that he told him he'd never forget how he risked his life to stand with the Newmans that night with Ian Ward. Victor gawps, oh, really? He thinks Diane and Jack put him up to this and warns Michael he's making a huge mistake. Michael says it's his to make. He reminds Victor that he told him he'd never forget how he risked his life to stand with the Newmans that night with Ian Ward. He's calling in a favor. He wants Victor to let him go and wish him well. Nikki walks in and asks, is everything all right? Michael says, goodbye, Victor, and exits. Nikki tells Victor she knows what just happened. She's sorry. Victor doesn't want to discuss it. Don't ever mention Michael Baldwin's name again. Victor Nikki YNR.